So it's undoubtedly the case that a really good rehearsal makes for a really good performance and makes you a better band and a better artist. But are your rehearsals good enough to ensure that this happens? Are your rehearsals productive? Hey, what's up? And welcome to Music Space, where we help working musicians just like you learn how to quickly and easily make a living with your craft. So if you're new here to the channel, hit that subscribe button and make sure you subscribe to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to give you a method to ensure that you have exponentially more productive rehearsals and that your rehearsals don't waste time and things like that. And if you get and learn this method that I'm about to show you, I promise you, you will feel a whole lot better about your rehearsals. You'll feel a whole lot more confident in your gigs while you're performing and stuff like that because you've had a good rehearsal. Now, this method involves 5 processes, but there are a couple of things that you need to have in place and you need to ensure are in place for this method to be effective for you. So the first thing that you need to ensure in place is that all of your musicians or all of your team members or group members or band members have spent considerable time practicing and learning the music on their own individual times. And this will inherently cut down on all of the wasted time that usually goes on in rehearsals where people are learning songs and having to pull them up on their phones and all of this kind of stuff to listen to them again and all of this kind of stuff. It cuts down on all of that stuff. So you need to ensure that all of your group members or team members or band members have spent considerable time on their own practicing and learning these songs, at least have the songs down to a good 85–90%. Now, the next thing that you need to ensure that happens is that in your rehearsal, you only need to be rehearsing about 3 to 5 songs per 2-hour rehearsal. Again, 3 to 5 songs per 2-hour rehearsal. Now, I know a lot of times this may sound strange because we're so used to rehearsing, or trying at least to rehearse 20 or 30 songs or 15 or 20 songs in one rehearsal, in one 2-hour rehearsal, because everybody's trying to cram. But again, this method only works if you are concentrating on about 3 to 5 songs. And this number is sort of loose. Sometimes it can be more than 3 to 5. Sometimes it could be less. Sometimes it can only be like 2 songs, 1 or 2 songs. It just kind of depends on your group or your band. So you kind of need to gauge that for yourself. But this is the thing that sort of just allows that time for each song to be worked out, how it needs to be worked out, versus cramming 15 songs in about 2 hours where you only get to spend a couple minutes per song. You can spend more time on less songs. And this, again, just ensures that each song gets its just due. Now, the first step in this top-down rehearsal method is called the full band run-through. Now, what this is when you get to rehearsal and you get ready to rehearse your first song or the second song, whichever one you're rehearsing first, you do a full band run through with all of the parts everybody's playing. And the reason that this step is important as a first step is because you may realize you run the song and everybody's practiced, perfectly, and the song is just okay the way it is, or it's, really good the way it is, and you don't need to clean up anything. So you can run through this first to try to find that. But more often than not, what you're going to be doing is looking for any sort of glaring issues that are standing out among the different parts of the band, the rhythm section, the vocalist, the horns, different instruments and things like that. Listen for groove issues, timing issues, note issues, anything that kind of sticks out. And what you're going to be doing is sort of making a mental note of those things so you can go back and sort of correct them when you do these next steps. But this is pretty much the description of the first step. It's just a full band run through of the song in order to pick out any sort of glaring mistakes. Now, the second step in this top-down rehearsal method is called the song section run through. Now, what this consists of is running through a section of a song, say the bridge or the chorus or the hook or the verse or something like that, while focusing on the transitions from the previous part into that part. So here's what I mean. For example, you're going to take the bridge and run through the bridge just to make sure the bridge is solid. Well, in running through that bridge, what you're going to do is go back before the bridge. If it's the hook that's happening before the bridge, go back about 8 measures or so, or maybe even 16 measures into that hook, and then transition into the bridge. You start that point as your rehearsal point, and then you go into the bridge. What this does is get you used to the transitions in the songs. A lot of times there's distinct transitions, if not even anything but like a drum fill that'll take you to another section of the song. That way you can focus on these song sections and you can hone in on specific parts of the song. And you can do this with all of the sections of the songs, the verse, the hook, the chorus. A lot of times there'll only be subtle differences between the first verse and the second verse, or the first chorus and the second chorus, but then the bridge will change something. There may be a key change or something like that. So you can go back before those sections, 8 to 16 bars, and sort of run through the transition into that next section, the bridge or the key change or whatever the case may be. And again, this is just to focus on transitions and to get from one part of the song to the next. Now, the third step in this top-down rehearsal method is called the rhythm section run through. And that's pretty self-descriptive. What you're going to do is allow time for the rhythm section of the band to run through their parts and get their parts down. So the rhythm section consisting of things like the keyboards, the guitar, the bass, drums, things like that, all of the rhythmic instruments, even percussion instruments and stuff like that. And what you're doing in that process is allowing them to focus on things like timing and groove and getting those things down. And you're honing in on stuff like, is the keyboard player playing a chord that's clashing with a chord that's the guitar player is playing, or is it dissonant, or are they complementing each other and things like that. Same things with like the bass guitar and the drums. Is the bass guitar and the drums and the kick drum rather, complementing each other? Are they fighting each other? You're picking out issues like that, and you're sort of solidifying those things in the rhythm that will help that rhythm section be like really nice and tight and locked. So again, those are the things that you're looking for in this step, this rhythm section run through. You're just allowing the rhythm section the time in the rehearsal to sort of correct their parts and get their parts down with honing in on those specific things. Now, the fourth step in this top-down rehearsal method is called the keys and vocal run-through. And again, this is a sort of another self-descriptive term, but it basically allows the vocalist to sort of hone in on their parts and get their parts down while just running it with a keyboard player. And it could be called like the guitar player and the, vocalist, anything that kind of keeps the vocalist in key and gives them their notes and stuff like that. So whatever instrument that may be, more often than not, it's like the keyboard player, the piano, or whatever. So that's why it's called the keys and vocals run through. But again, it's just sort of like the rhythm section run through. You're allowing the vocalist to hone in on specific parts where they can say, okay, we're going to pronounce this specific word like this. We're going to change this harmony on this to that, or we're going to do unison here. We're going to get this part like this. Those kind of things. We're going to take a breath here in our, our phrasing and stuff like this, the way that we say the song. This is just, again, time allowing the vocalist to kind of hone in on the specifics that they need to run through without all of the noise of the full band, which sometimes can be distracting, especially if you're in a rehearsal space with like a small room or something like that, and everybody's not using in-ears and stuff like that for a rehearsal. You're just kind of in an open room, got drums and all of that kind of stuff going. This just allows the vocalist time to kind of hone in on their parts so they can kind of be certain of what they're doing. Now, the fifth and final step in this top-down rehearsal method is called the final band run-through. And this is where the magic happens. This is where you do another full band run through of the song with, taking in all of the corrections that have been made from the previous steps, the rhythm section run through, the vocals and keys run through, all of these kind of things, the sectional run through. And you're putting all of these pieces together now to see if all of the corrections that you've made in this process are working. So ideally, all of these things have worked. You put all of these pieces together and now you have a nice puzzle, and you can listen to the difference in, what you started with in the first full band run through in the first step with the final full band run through. So again, this is just where you're listening for these corrections and making sure those things are happening, making sure all of the parts that everybody, rehearse on individually in the sections are tight, all of those kind of things. And this is, again, where you can kind of practice your song as a performance at this point. You can act like this is the performance, like this is the song, this is the one chance we're going to have to do this song. That's really one of the bigger purposes of this fifth and final step, this final band run through. It's sort of the dress rehearsal part of, this process where you can, hey, this is how we're going to do it and this is how it's going to run. We only get this one chance. but these are all of the 5 steps in the top-down rehearsal method. So again, this TDR method of rehearsal is just a method to ensure that you are getting the most out of your rehearsals and that your rehearsals are, exponentially more productive. Using this method again will just give you that feeling when you leave rehearsal that we really got a lot done and that we really got this song down and we don't really need to come back and start focusing on these things anymore. The next rehearsal, we can move on to the next songs and things like that. And you can feel confident in your performances, or at least more confident in your performances, that things are going to go, as rehearsed and as planned in your rehearsal. So make sure you incorporate this method in your next rehearsals and see how it works for you. But I'm curious to know, what kind of methods are you incorporating right now in your rehearsals? Are your rehearsals productive? Are they meaningful? Do you feel like you're getting anything done in your rehearsals? Jump down in the comment section and let me know. I'd really love to converse with you about it, to see how those things are going and see when you use this method, how it works for you. And also make sure you take the time to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell as well. That way you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded. We upload videos all the time to this channel, and they're here to help you out. So make sure you again hit that subscribe button. There are a lot of resources down in the description of this video, the free ebook you can download and things like that. So make sure you do that as well. And I'll see you in the next video.